In order to create anything, I have to destroy something. And I have been thinking about destruction, I have been thinking about art, creativity, and a lot of being an artist is the pressure of creating something new or transforming or recreating, making little pieces like a collage into something original, or even that art could create a better word. And I was thinking, what if we can just destroy and that's it? I don't have to create anything after destroying, because the destruction itself is a very creative force. So I have been researching, reading, writing over the past months, and this is a very special episode. This is already in my blog like for over a month now, and you can read it. You can also let me know in the comments your thoughts about it, because this is what we would call in Portuguese pano pra manga. Like, there is just too much to talk about this. So today I'm sharing with you all about destruction in art. I'm currently reading Kairos by Jenny Erpenbeck, and there's a dialogue here in page 44, I guess, between Katarina and Hans, where they say, "Odd, really. The anthem of a socialist country, starting with the most Christian word there is, resurrected," he says, more to himself than to her. "I don't think it's odd," she replies. "It's just the way it is. You can only make something new after some throughout going destruction." And this goes along with other tellings of many other artists, or you probably have heard already by Antoine Lavoisier, "Nothing is lost, nothing is created, everything is transformed." Or Mikhail Bakunin, he also told the urge to destroy is also a creative urge. So if we're talking about being humans and life, and mostly art needing destruction, I guess it's just because art and destruction itself is a shadow of creation. And if you are an artist, but also if you are just a creative person, you have this feeling of creating something, to change, to end, to start something new, to destroy, which is the same urge to make something new and to make a revolution, to make things happen. Welcome. I guess this is gonna be a nice episode for us, for humans, for we to look at the amount of destruction we have been doing with our lives in general, basically. And as an artist, I do believe we'd have a responsibility with this. There is a divine figure from Mexica people called Quetzalcoatl. I don't know if I'm pronouncing this correctly, but there is a nice book that I recommend you guys, and I finished, which is a guide to the ancient stories and legends from Camila Towns. It calls Aztec myths, and there is a figure, Quetzalcoatl, which means a snake, like a quetzal bird, which is a bird that could move from earth to the sky. And he was associated with creativity, birth, and yet also destruction, sacrifice, and death. To quote the creator, it seemed could be also the destroyer. And there is a photo of a drawing where this figure as a bird snake is offering itself in the sacrifice, with even a note that even he is allowing himself to be sacrificed. And I really do recommend this book for everyone out there that's like curious about life, myths, history, culture, but especially how many of our unconsciousness, how many of our stories has always been connecting creation and destruction at the same time. In this book, they also talked about the moment of childbirth, which they called Mikispan, something like this. I will write everything here, and you can also read this in my blog as well again, and see all the references and links for everything that I'm talking about today. This is a time where women usually faced, not usually, but they always face death itself. Something we forgot now when medicine has improved so much, but essentially life was always damned to end, and so does every creation actually. So we called ourselves artists, but we truly forgot like the risk and the moment of death and creation, or even better, we forgot to integrate both at the same time. So giving birth as we face death, basically. There is an art movement called autodestructive art pioneered by Gustav Metzger. He was a German that fled to England when he was only 12 because of Nazism. And there is a nice quote from this article, which is in German, and I will leave here also the translation if you wanna check it out. Schon früh mit der mörderischen Gewalt von Menschen konfrontiert, war es für Gustav Metzger existenziell, auf die Konsequenzen Zerstören der Natur aufmerksam zu machen und für deren Erhalt wie Respekt zu kämpfen. Inmitten des atomaren Wettrüstens schrieb er Manifeste zur autodestruktiven Kunst, einer Kunst, die auf die eigene Zerstörung angelegt war. It's beautiful because it's like making art for this world that is already very cruel and destructive, and how the art itself can destroy itself and you can watch something destroying itself. And this is so human. This is the most like human and sensible art that you can make as a human, because we are all destroying ourselves. We're gonna die. It's gonna end. This idea of making art for the future, that artists are gonna live forever, or even this idea of I'm gonna be here far away, gone, just bones under the ground, but my art is gonna survive. There will be a museum. You can listen the voice of Amy Winehouse. Is still inside myself as an artist, always the sense that art is bigger than myself, and I still believe in this. But this ego, some sort of like, I'm gonna go, but my art has to stay. It doesn't. Art has to be destroyed, and that's also like the point, that this is so fragile, that this could be destroyed. And we go to museums and we make photos of stuff that we know since we were a child in schools, like Mona Lisa or Van Gogh paintings. I was recently in Amsterdam, so I can see why people wanna capture this moment, because it's there, but who knows for how long. And the museum itself is like protecting it, and not every art has this privilege, I would say. So growing up in this cruel world that has an ending coming and wanting still to make a change will ask us artists the same urge that Gustav Metzger had, creating this autodestructive art. He also said, ich habe nichts zu sagen, und das ist Politik. Even if you have nothing to say, this is already very political from you. Apart from this movement, there are also other movements of destructive art, from Yoko Ono, Rafael Montanes Ortiz, which is like he's destroying his pianos in his performance, and Cornelia Parker. And here to quote her, art is about destruction, resurrection, and reconfiguration. There is an article as well, pretty nice, where you can see the type of work that she used to make, and to quote again, demonstrating this importance of this process. She would frequently like transform objects. She used to shoot them, explode them, squash them, cut, burn, whatever which would be like destructive. And you can see this process as almost like a performance or happening. And through these actions, she both physically alters this object, a painting or sculpture or whatever, and she also alters herself. Like she becomes a part of this active happening that is going on, like it's developing its history. There is nothing more creative than this as well, like very active, very being there. Like you can be God and you can create something in this moment, and you can also be there creating something else. And what people will see is the destructive part of the process, and by the end, a product, a result, which is crumbles, which is something burned, but is a product as well. Both creation and destruction ask from us, for the artists and for us public as well, to just be more active and participate in what is being created or destroyed, or both at the same time. I have recently talked about my anger in therapy. I ended up buying like this anti-stress ball for me, and I'm sharing this here because it's a lot easier to deal with these feelings and distractions when you have an object, like when you have ceramics, painting, books, museums, architecture, like movies. You can destroy them, you can easily do something about it. But it's a lot harder if you work with imagining, writing, feelings, performing words, sounds. What could be destruction in this way? And I do believe that it is more difficult to imagine, but it is also the era that we're living in, with internet, with social media, with so many informations, and you can destroy it by making it fake, by making it too much or too less or too weird or artificial somehow. There are so many other new ways that we don't even know, that we are always evolving and creating something new, and always something is lost in this process. Always something else is being destroyed in order for a new thing to be created. Again, about rage, because when I was thinking and reflecting about destruction, a lot about stress and anger came. And I don't think we humans are allowing ourselves to be angry. That's a point. But especially artists, we are not honoring this process as humans. We don't allow our rage, frustration to manifest publicly, and that's not beautiful. Although we are like facing wars and never knowing how to end them, we are afraid to stop our projects. We are afraid to let people see our outbursts, let people see our rage, really. Like, we don't want to make art that is like aggressive. We don't want to bother people anymore. I say we don't want to, but I believe a lot of people out there want to do this, and that's amazing. But I'm making a whole journey for myself here in my podcast with my diary for you guys. As an artist, I feel like, and probably a woman also, that have more problems to express my rage. And then there's culture involved. There's so much involved, but I do believe that we suppress this urge to crush, to hunt, to vanish, to stop creating as creators even. There is a pressure to always create more and more beautiful, or to do better, or to don't stop creating, because creating is our life force. But what if an artist don't want to create anymore, or don't want to create something in some way anymore? We have to really accept the destruction within ourselves, to destroy some patterns, to destroy weird ways of thinking about ourselves, about what the public wants from ourselves. So yeah, I guess if we would destroy more, we actually would be more free to create. This is Abaporu. This is a painting that calls O Homem que Come, basically, like the man that eats, in Tupi-Guarani, which is the most spoken native language in Brazil before our colonization. And this painting is from Tarsila do Amaral, inspired by Oswald de Andrade, he was writing the Manifesto Antropofágico, which is basically a movement that aimed to create something originally from Brazil. Like, what is Brazil culture? Are we just observing our colonization, or what is coming from Europe, or what is coming from North America, United States? Like, what is being Brazilian? What is our culture? And understanding that we, as like a mix of many cultures, like from Japanese to African cultures to native culture, we observed everything, we transformed everything, all those many influences, and this is what we have now. Something like culture cannibalism, because you're eating, you're drinking from other cultures. You're mixing them all and creating this mix, which is Brazilian culture. And I honestly prefer this idea than the idea of stealing like an artist, which is basically you go there and then you take your references, then you copy some people. And maybe I do like this culture cannibalism vision more than stealing. Like, it's more organic, it's more part of our own process as humans. We're eating, we're watching, we're drinking, is making this part of who we are. And now, as an immigrant myself, I just, once again, not belong totally, not even in my country or here. So I still feel like, as an artist, or as, at least if you are also an immigrant, or at least if you also have like a diversity around you, like your parents or people around you, if you want to see yourself more in a global, international way, I would say, with less boundaries or categories for who you are, you can apply this for yourself. You, as an artist, you have your own internal culture, and you create dialogues with the culture that is outside of you and create something very unique. And that's a nice balance of creation and destruction at the same time. To go back to this book that I talked about at the beginning of the podcast, I haven't finished this book yet. I'm right at the beginning and I have been trying to read this book for a long time. It is an amazing book, but there's some triggers, I would say, like emotionally, personally. She's dating a much older guy, and I don't really think I love this book yet, but I want to keep reading. And this is teaching me a lot about the history of Germany and the time that it was still like separated the two Germanys, and they were narrating this from the point of view of someone that was in the socialist Germany. So I would say after 3 years living in Berlin, I know a lot about the history already. I know a lot about, like, from my family here, from what I've studied already, from all what I'm reading and watching and documentaries, and making my whole Einbürgerung process, like making the process of becoming maybe someone that is not from here, but someone that is here. I'm becoming someone else now. I'm destroying so many parts of the old me, and that's so weird. And I will not create the same things that I was creating when I was 10, when I was living somewhere else. I will create new things and I will destroy so much. I will never stop destroying somehow. And it just made me realize as well how much destruction this country has, and not just this country and this history, but our history as humans. Like, even when I start thinking that this is here and this is this country, this culture here, there's so much destruction, there's so much war. I remember up until today, one time, like around 6 years ago, I was going to my course in my Straßenbahn, zum Alexanderplatz, and there was a bomb. They're still like extracting bombs from the ground, and I was like, the war is not so far. Like, there's war still going on around me here, even if it is not in this country anymore. Even when I traveled to Amsterdam, for example, which was my recent vlog, there was Annie Frank, like, and they were there and they took her. Like, this is something that I learned even as a child, even in Brazil. So there's nothing about boundaries anymore, and creation and destruction is the only one that can even change lines and boundaries and these limits that we create for ourselves as society, or more imaginative limits that we put in our own brain inside ourselves. Using this power of creation and destruction can even reconfigure our spaces, our story, our culture. This is not just art and sensible and internal. This is political, this is real, this is very concrete, and this is very social as well. It could be for one individual, but it's usually for decades, ages, for a whole history, for all the future generations. So where is the destruction in my creation? I was listening a podcast with Emma Stone called The Envelope, and there she was talking about her character, Bella, like from Poor Things, and how the challenge was to deconstruct her character, because she had no shame, no history, no morals. Like, the character was reborn, and this Oscar-winning performance is so creative because it was so destructive. It was about letting go and emptying yourself, or just releasing, or just redoing some ways that we are so usual to do them. Some sort of creative process where you're aware that creativity needs not always new ideas or research or more. Sometimes it just needs less in an empty space. And empty space is not even like something that I created. There is Peter Brook, which was a director, and he came up with this concept, not me, obviously, where if you just have an empty space and something is happening, magic happens. You have people that will go inside the space and do something, and people that are outside watching them. And this is theater, this is performance, this is acting, this is magic, this is cinema. This is when, like, you get bored in a Sunday afternoon, or when amazing ideas come to mind, or you are on an airplane without internet, or you are on a shower driving. We need actually this I would not say emptiness because I don't like this word, because I guess that's a big misunderstanding. I'm not talking about reaching meditational state or boredom or emptiness. I also believe that those are important for creativity to thrive, but I am remembering myself that nothing is created or lost, just transformed. So I'm trying to search where is the destruction in my creation. For example, in order to create this empty space for a theater lesson, my teacher would have to destroy the crowd, the noise, would have to scream and make everyone sit down. There is this energy, this force of destruction in order to even create stillness, to even create something. We have to force this ending somehow. Ending a project, a relationship, giving up your own peace because it wasn't really what you expected, because you don't really have time or you don't have the desire anymore, burning out, fighting over something that you hated, and you don't even want to do this anymore. There are so many ways of destruction, and those are some that I came up with. First, time. Chronos is a huge myth. I have a song as well, I will leave here in the description if you want to listen. I made this music with a friend, I guess 2 years ago, but this song was like the one that we took the longest. So we basically started and then we gave up and then we came back. And the whole process of making the song was so important because it was so symbolic. This is the process as well. There is not like a linear way to see time. It is about stopping and restarting. Like an art project is never done, is always abandoned. That's it. I would just stop now because I don't want to be doing this forever, and you will not want to do this forever. That's great as well. So time will destroy because it will get old, because things will change. Time is already something that you cannot control, so destruction is already gonna affect your art, whatever you created, whatever, even if this is like a plant that you were taking care of. Second, when I was writing the script, for example, I was doing over months research, reading more, coming with references, and I realized that the process of writing, researching itself, rewriting, telling stories, retelling stories, I ate and I drank from so many references, and therefore there are a part of them in me now. Like as I'm reading this book, I'm gonna finish this as a new person. I'm gonna have some ideas from this author, from this story. They're gonna become my ideas now, some sort of process of destruction to kill the old me because I'm getting in contact with new references, with new stuff, with new things. So the process itself of evolving, of searching creation is gonna force you to leave something behind, to change your opinions or change your mind or change your taste, so to say, as well. Which leads me to some applications for destruction, for a better word. And please don't get me wrong, but I guess after the whole conversation, you are understanding my point. So those are changes and solutions for problems that we are facing as individuals and society. 1. Destruction can be a form of protest, challenging what is established, power structures and historical narrative as well. Like, what is art? Make stuff to provoke, to intrigue. Destroying the concept of art itself, why not? Is art even art? Like, is this art? Is a podcast, a YouTube video, content creation, artificial intelligence? Is it professional? Is it for free? Is it making any change in our world? Make questions, provoke, intrigue. 2. In this movement, we also see some protests of destroying art itself, like Mona Lisa or other pieces or museums, they have been attacked. And there's a whole polemic, this is a whole new topic for a whole new podcast, but the rage and the urge to create something new is sometimes not nice, not polite, not beautiful, and it doesn't have to be. That's the only thing that I can say. Yes, it's gonna be wrong, and breaking the rules is the point. So it's not always gonna be nice. It's not gonna be, this is a obvious example probably for some, But graffiti, I was also visiting Malcolm Museum in Amsterdam. I'm talking about Amsterdam all the time. But there was a nice graffiti that they took like the wall of Banksy, and it was there standing a piece of a wall in the museum. Something that he did, like, or they did in the streets, and then basically this is now there standing in a piece of concrete in a museum. And that's the point of some activism, that you don't really are accepted doing what you're doing. So there's a nice quote from Critical Legal Thinking, also another article that I will leave here, which says, art is only that which opens the possibility of being something other than what it is. And paradoxically, but consequentially, art is only that which we can never definitely say is something given and forever. So it's the only thing that we can transform into something else. We can make this mean whatever we want it to mean for us. And that's why we also can never say what art is. Like, that's it, and this is gonna be forever this. It's not. So it is a place where creation and destruction can coexist, definitely. For me, I guess destruction makes me hope again, liberates me so much from sadness, from anger, all the shadows, all what is important still stays, and I can use this somehow. And mostly it leaves me believing in my art again, an art that I can still chase and want to do, an art that is here to change something, to bring real solutions, to still make sense for myself, and not to be decoration, not to be foolish. And even if it is, that this still means something to me. I guess the word is asking us consistency, beauty, quantity, and yet being creative and an artist demands so much more than that. And whenever I silence my rage, or I was too much, or people pleasing, or I ended up with a creative block because I wanted to do something that I was not really wanting to do, I've realized that destroying this was the only way out. Even if something made sense in the past, but now it doesn't anymore. The process of letting this go, of ending a project, of changing this podcast, of not working with something anymore, or not working with someone anymore, was painful. I have been, over the past year, ending so many projects and beginning new ones as well, but I can see that the destruction force and urge gave me just so much. All the rest just comes, because life is creative. Life is gonna bring already many new things. You just have to make space, and takes a lot of courage to make the space. I believe there are two kinds of destruction. One that is painful and sad, like war, like a castle on the sand that vanished by the wave, and you did so much work for it to happen, and a love relationship, a lot of time wasting, this feeling of emptiness, this death itself, it's sad, is painful. But there is also one that can be relief and freedom and lightful, can be a pleasure, can be like cleaning the room, a new haircut, or putting the trash out so it doesn't smell anymore. It is on the small things, actually, and you can make them go hand to hand. You can make the sad destruction be a little lightful, and that's your creativity coming. Change the room and finish a project, or let go, show and acknowledge your anger, deconstruct a little bit in yourself, your beliefs constantly, every day, delete stuff, do some backup as well, break up, give up, fight for whatever you believe and you want to fight, and destroy and create, and nothing is here forever. So yeah, not even your art has to be this. So change. You can change, always. So yes, I hope this gave you some sort of inspiration. I hope this episode helped you to also have some insights about destruction itself as a creative person, as an artist. I hope this was an interesting conversation to have. I have been reflecting, elaborating this by myself. It's always nice to have this community here, this platforms and an online place where I can share these thoughts as well, because this has been in my brain for so long, so it's nice to share and see if you have something to share with me as well. I will always love to hear in the comments, in my emails. I will leave all my links in the description. You can also read this full text and check out those articles, all the references as well. I would love to know really what you think about it, because I guess I've never thought about the destruction in art so much, and now I'm pretty much aware. Like, I ask myself always, what do I want to destroy and what do I want to create? And if you want to know more about me, if you want to know more about my projects, I will leave my website also in the description. You can check it out, my portfolio. You can contact me and write me if you want to create something together as well. I am an actor, filmmaker, I am a writer, I make these episodes, videos, I edit, I color grade. I do so many things. I create a lot and I destroy a lot. At the end of each episode, I also like to give you any recommendation of books or movies or series, whatever, like any art recommendation. And I would definitely recommend this book here that I already talked about. Also, this other book that I talked about, The Aztec Myths. It's amazing. It's very interesting to reflect about culture in general, so you're gonna have so many more insights like these ones that I already gave you here. And if you want to leave a suggestion or a recommendation of a movie, a book, a series, or whatever, please leave in the comments. Not only this is gonna be interesting for me, because I'm definitely gonna check it out, but for everyone else. So leave in the comments as well, and I will see you in the next episode, which is probably gonna be, let me see, I am wanting to make one about multiple interests, like wanting to do so much. A list of creative habits as well. I also wanted to make one about finding your own style, like becoming your work, being an artist, and you have this persona, you are the art basically. So yeah, pretty excited for all the next topics to come, and I will see you then. Bye.